What is that makes you not to create that mechanism to just warming them up, having them in the loop and kind of a flywheel effect?
I hired an agency who was charging me like $3,000 a month for YouTube videos, and we created a ton of stuff, and there was like 0 results out of it.
You need to test always different things to see which approach would work better. Exactly like ads. Some ads that work like 1 year ago, they might not work today because lots of people start using them and it's already outdated.
The guys that were doing, they had, I think, 15 people that they were doing the same service for, like cold email to podcast. Those sequences were getting like 1% response rate. I changed all of their messaging to be focused around let me interview you for a book, and the response we were getting with my messages was 8%. We were doing maybe 12 to 15 podcasts a week, and I would say 6 of those to 7 of those were turning into sales calls, and then we would close maybe 1 in 10.
Make your social presence stronger, and once you reach out to people, you know what happens on the LinkedIn? They don't only look at your messaging, they actually go to your profile and see who is Travis Cody. Let me see at his profile.
So what do you do in terms of the flywheel and the systems? Because I think you were saying that was kind of like you do all three, right? Obviously you're doing systems, you're doing flywheel, and also the sales. What does your team do in terms of specifically for me, like I need more content, but I have no idea what I'm supposed to be doing with that?
Cool, great, Travis. Welcome, and thanks a lot for taking your time that you want to do an analysis, this roadmap session with us. Do you want to give a little bit background about your services, what you do right now?
I'm an author that helps other successful entrepreneurs write and publish their own book.
Okay, nice. So you have just a coaching system, or how you help your clients usually?
It's sort of it's a done with you. It's kind of at 50-50. So we coach them through how to get their book made in a timely fashion, right? And I say timely fashion in that they can get their rough draft done in 10 to 12 hours.
Yeah. Anyone who wants to get the book published like as fast as possible, the experts, you just take the entire process and help them to get this done.
Yeah. So we teach them, we coach them through how to get their book written and edited. And once it's edited, then we actually take over and we have done for you services at that point where we do their cover design, the typesetting, get everything set up for them to publish. We help them publish live on Amazon through their own publishing account. And then we do a guaranteed bestseller marketing campaign where we guarantee their book will become an Amazon bestselling book.
That sounds good.
They're doing the actual kind of, the creation of the manuscript. And then, we do have maybe 5% of our clients ask if we can manage the whole process for them once they've got the rough draft done. So in that case, we're more of a traditional, like we just do it all for them, right? You find the editors, we handle all the editing, we do everything for them. But our, primary business is kind of, we guide you through the process so you're doing the work. And once the manuscript's done, we do all the hard work for you after that point.
Gotcha. And how do you win the clients right now?
We've been doing 2 different things. One was a cold outreach on cold DMs on LinkedIn. And the other one was cold email where we would invite people to be part of a book project I'm working on.
Okay.
So I'm interviewing them. And then once, so legitimately that these conversations are becoming chapters of my book. But I discovered when I started the project, about 20-30% of the people after the conversation were like very curious about, oh, you write books. I've always thought about it. How does that work? And then they want to have a conversation about it. So I end up having follow-up conversation, Brent. But that seems to be working less and less lately.
Mm-hmm. And how many meetings do you book approximately, and how many of them you close in a month?
Well, when we were running, when everything was working well with our cold email, we were doing maybe 12 to 15 podcasts a week. I would say 6 of those to 7 of those were turning into sales calls, and then we would close maybe 1 in 10.
1 in 10. Okay. So what is your biggest challenge right now in terms of client acquisition? Where do you see it?
Consistent leads, just getting people on sales calls.
Okay. Consistency. So what is lacking there? Is it like the system constraint, or is it more like a people constraint? You don't have setters?
Yeah. Or yes to both.
Okay.
Yeah. I've never really played around with the setter aspect. I don't know how that works. Right now it's me, and I have a VA that does a lot of outreach on LinkedIn, but I'm doing a lot of the responding, right? So yes, if I had setters that could kind of hit every social media channel, then that would probably move the needle significantly. And again, that work, I don't know. I've heard about it, but I don't know what the way that system works or how I manage people or how I track what they're doing is working or not.
Okay. But you said you had times when you got like 12 to 15 appointments a week. So what happened after that? Like how many you book right now?
Yeah, this month has been super slow. We're only getting maybe 2 a week.
2 a week right now. And what is the main reason? What happened that since like...
Something shifted in the cold email where our outreach dropped off just more off a cliff. I think Google made some updates to Gmail, and that made a big difference. And then on LinkedIn, it's getting extremely competitive. There's now a couple of guys that I know of that are selling become a publishing consultant as a business opportunity.
Yeah.
So they're charging people 5 to 10 grand to show them how to, hammer people on LinkedIn with their proven message system to get them to pay them 5 to 10 grand. Right. So now it was rare that I would hear from somebody on LinkedIn that they had heard about book publishing before, but I think maybe a dozen times in the last few weeks when I talk to people off of LinkedIn, they're just like, "Hi, you part of like some sort of marketing group?" Because I've had like 20 messages this week of people asking me if I want to write and publish a book. So that the LinkedIn now is getting flooded with just garbage from people that don't know what they're doing, and that I think there's creating a lot of noise, and people are starting to tune out.
Gotcha. So mainly, do I understand it correctly that you are the only one who is working on the outreach, and when you have time, and it's mostly like as you're a busy entrepreneur, you are doing a lot of different tasks, and once you have time, then you reach out to people. That's why it's also inconsistent.
I have an VA that's doing all the reach out, but I don't really manage him very well. So every now and then when I get in there and look at it, he's not doing a super great job, but I don't know how to train him how to get better. And I don't really have the time to like sit and go through and hold him by the hand for everything. So for now, I'm just kind of letting him doing what he's doing.
Gotcha. Do you ask her or him, I don't know which gender, and do you ask how many outreaches they do in a day?
I used to. I haven't in a long while.
You haven't asked anyone. You didn't ask about it.
No, not in a long time.
Okay, and you pay hourly for the work?
No, I just pay him a flat fee, and he says he's working 20 hours a week. But again, I'm not tracking that, so I don't know if he actually really is or not.
Gotcha. And all sent manually, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. And in terms of closing, let's say, are you booking only the conversations like interviews first, like podcasts, and then you close? It seems to be like a good conversion mechanism for you.
That one was what we were doing. That one's no longer working now. Like we haven't booked a call from that in like 2 weeks. So that's what I'm saying. That used to work great. It's not working. So we're trying to rebuild it. But the only thing that's sort of been holding things steady is the LinkedIn DMs where, we're getting maybe 2 or 3 calls a month from that. Gotcha. That could probably be optimized, and it could probably do a lot better with it. Again, I just don't have the brain space to get in there and figure out how to make it better or how to guide him to do better.
Yeah. And in terms of those interviews or podcasts, like it's not working because you were reaching out and it was like more positive replies, and now no reply at all, like, or less replies. That's why you think it's not working anymore. Okay, gotcha. Cool. So in general, one thing is really interesting for me to know is what you are specifically writing when you invite people for the podcast. What you say.
So I'm sorry, what was that question again?
When you reach out to people for podcasts, right? Your VA, do you follow like specific framework?
Yeah. So I mean, it's basically I'm an author. I got 16 books. I'm working on my next book. I was doing some research. I found you on LinkedIn. Feels like you would be a great fit. Yeah. I'd love to interview you to be a chapter in my next book. Here's how it works. If you're interested, here's the link. Go there and check it out. Right. And then they go to a link and there's a qualifier. And if they qualify, then they can automatically book a call. And if they don't qualify, then it gets sent to a page that says, "Hey, thanks, you're not a great fit right now."
Gotcha. And do you mention also like any results you got for the clients in general?
No, because they're not there for that. They're there for podcasts.
Yeah. Gotcha. So I would challenge you just for the sake of making your processes better. So if someone tells me like, let's write a book, why would I write the book? Really give me the reasons. Why would I?
Yeah, so I'm getting a little confused now. We're talking about the podcast messaging, or are we talking about something else now?
No, in general, in terms of like book publishing, right? Let's say I'm a consultant. I'm not interested specifically in the books in general, but you reach out to me and say, you should write a book. Okay. Why should I write?
If you haven't thought about writing a book and you're not interested in a book, you're not a good fit for me, and I'm not going to try to convince you why you need to have one. Okay. So we're sending messages. Have you thought about writing and publishing a book? No. Okay, cool. Sorry to bother you. A good percentage of people are like, yeah, I've been thinking about it for 5 plus 6 years. Okay, what stopped you from writing it? I'm too busy. Okay, what makes you think you're too busy? Oh, because of X, Y, and Z. Oh, okay. Well, if I could show you how to get your book done in about 10 to 12 hours of your time, like, would you be interested in a chat? Okay. That's sort of the sequencing that we have with our messages. Yeah, I'm not trying to convince this is me. I'm not going to somebody who's never thought about writing a book going like, here's why you need one. That's way too much work because they're not convinced that it's going to be good for them. And like, I've got like 6 months of educating them. So, right. So to your point earlier, like, if I started doing content where I'm posting it on YouTube and all that sort of stuff, I could, great. We could probably start making videos there. Like if you're a consultant and you don't have a book, here's why you're leaving money on the table. And now they're going to start getting educated through content. But then that means by the time they get on a call with us, they're like, I hadn't thought about it. I saw your videos and now I'm like, oh crap, I'm really missing out. I really need to have one of these. How does it work? And that's a different conversation.
Yeah. Why? I'm just wondering, because you have such a good presence as well. I saw like you have a lot of proof and everything. What is that makes you not to create that mechanism to just warming them up, having them in the loop and kind of a flywheel effect?
I don't know anything about the content. Years ago, I hired an agency that was charging me like $3,000 a month for YouTube videos, and we created a ton of stuff, and there was like 0 results out of it. So, like my experience with creating content was a huge cost, huge amount of time and energy, no result, and like there was no way I could have continued doing that because I would just burn out just from simply trying to keep ahead of what they wanted from the videos standpoint. So like, I know people use content. I understand I probably need it, but the one time I tried it was just like, they would just throwing stuff everywhere and nothing stuck. So I don't want it. That's just like a horrible strategy. And I got dozens of clients that have gone down that same game where they'd spent 10 or 15 hours a week for 6-7 months creating content and had like nothing come out of it. So unless I had some sort of strategy of like, here's how my content is going to work and here's how we're going to actually get people to see it, it just doesn't seem like it would be worth my time.
Got you. I think in general, like I saw also your webinars, you were making webinars, the structure is really good. But the thing is, what I see in your business specifically right now, you can see my screen right now, right? So your services, writing, delivering, setting up everything for them and delivering the books with the approach of, let's say, you are looking mostly, do you know about the market levels? Look, for example, there are some unaware people. If you can
Of course.
see, for example, unaware, product aware, service solution aware, and etc. You can go and see this, for example, right? So what you do right now is mostly you are targeting solution aware people who are like 50%, even less of the market, right? So that's why I clearly see like one things that are working really well and worked in the past is like the funnel that you have with the interviews and podcasts, which is great. It's probably like lots of people started offering the same thing. That's what happens on the outreach side, right? You need to test always different things to see which approach would work better. And it's exactly like ads. Some ads that work like 1 year ago, they might not work today because lots of people start using them and it's already outdated. So
for yours, but there are a lot of people that are doing cold email to do straight podcasts. Mine was different because I was offering to interview them for a book.
Yeah.
Yes, it takes place as a podcast interview because they want the content for social, but the ultimate reason the conversation was working was, hey, I want an interview for my book on that. So the guys that were doing, they had, I think, 15 people that they were doing the same service for, like cold email to podcasts. Those sequences were getting like 1% response rate. I changed all of their messaging to be focused around, let me interview you for a book. And the response we were getting with my messages was 8%.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I would probably keep that as well. But one thing is really important is those people who are interested actually in the book, let's say, or not interested, you can have a mechanism with the content to warm them up and build your authority because you have authority. You worked with Russell Brunson and big names in the industry. You got them amazing results and you get a lot of like people to get their bestsellers done. And until now, I didn't see anyone who was so strong in that specific domain like you. I don't know, there might be some of your competitors, but I didn't see it. So what was missing for me a lot is first of the content. When I go to YouTube, for example, I write Travis Cody, there is no content, almost no content, right? Like a couple of videos I've found.
Yeah, which is funny because I got, I don't know, 35 or 40 podcast episodes on my personal channel. So
yeah. Specifically, like when you do cold outreach, for example, right? You always need a content. There is a 4-7-11 rule of Google, as you know, that people will want to go and see who is this person. So first of all, for that sake, so I don't mean like starting out just to do content to attract new people, but actually to warm up those people who are already coming to you, right? It can be your social media channels, writing about like I saw your LinkedIn was decent, but I think there you can make it better. You have lots of pictures on the stage, for example. You can put them there, make your social presence stronger. And once you reach out to people, you know what happens on the LinkedIn? They don't only look at your messaging, they actually go to your profile and see who is Travis Cody. Let me see at his profile. And once they see, for example, made 100 people successful and get best-selling author. Oh, this is interesting. Let me go to YouTube and see if he has any videos. They go to YouTube and try to research. I actually asked this all questions because I'm working with so many people. I asked, hey, before starting working with me, what did you do? Oh, I go to YouTube, watched your couple videos, then I saw your testimonial there. I went to your website. Same thing for your website as well. I think your biggest bottleneck right now are your digital assets, and I'm gonna write it down here, digital presence and assets. And as soon as you have it set, you will get better results on the outreach itself, right? And having the clear offer and building the flywheel effect instead of going with the pipeline. You know, there are two ways of doing like client outreach, right? Pipeline is you start connecting with people and then it ends after a while because it's just like a pipeline, right? So you want to create a sales flywheel, which will start with, let's say, outreach. You start talking to people, then you send them some information, then maybe you had a call but you couldn't close them, then you follow up with a case study, then you follow up with a YouTube video, and it goes always on the flywheel. So to make it happen, you need two resources for that. First of all, you need the tool set, which you can do with basically with the GHL or other tools. You can just create all these sequences with your different social media channels. And the second is your team, who will be actually reaching out to them and build a relationship and keep up that relationship, which sounds like a lot of work, I know, but on the long term, imagine the pipeline having of 1,000 people there, and you're closing consistently 15, 20 people every month, which can bring you like to the next level and make your pipeline profitable. Right? So the next thing, if you would ask me like what I would do, like 3 things for like next steps. First would be like looking at the digital presence, website, social media, creating some content at least to be there. You know, I don't mean like just for attracting the clients. Maybe it's the next level. Once you have this digital presence, you can start creating the content which is like exactly for your ICP that can attract them. But it's again long-term game, you know. Like I know lots of creators who are successful with YouTube or other channels. They were creating content for years, and then after years, it's starting rolling. You know, so organic is always slow, right? But once it works, you get a lot of leads for zero. Like you pay literally zero for that, right? Second thing I would do, like creating. It seems to me like you don't have that flywheel effect. You know, connecting the tools and having the follow-up system with all of your clients, building relationship with them. You know, it sounds to me like you're just targeting the middle of funnel, which is more like solution aware people, which is great. You can close them faster, but on the long term, you cannot close as many people and have your predictable pipeline. So to have predictable pipeline, you will need to also educate some unaware people, try to bring them to the bottom of funnel as fast as possible, right? And the third thing, I would say working on your team, managing VA and giving the trainings, which would be very important. You will need to have KPIs. Give the KPIs. Say, for example, every day you need to reach out 200 people, and they just fill in into Excel sheet, and you check it every day and see the traction. See, if you send 200 messages, you book like 5 appointments. Then after a week, you book like 2 appointments. Okay, what happened?
He's not doing very good at booking appointments. I think he's booking like 1 appointment every 400 or 500 messages, maybe.
Try to understand why. Like maybe it's messaging. What is going on wrong there? Is it messaging? Is it something?
Probably. I mean, sometimes he seems to not be great at like context of a conversation. Like people will say something and he'll respond like, because I have like a sequence of like, here's what you should go through. And sometimes he'll just like copy and paste the answer without, and it has nothing to do with anything that they just responded with. Right. I've probably had that conversation with him 12 or 15 times of like, dude, when somebody's like says something and gives you a question and then you respond with like this thing that has nothing to do with it. Oh yeah. Okay. But he just keeps doing it. So
what does it do in your
mentally? I've just not had the time to be able to go in there. I spent a couple of hours going through his messages, trying to figure out how to make him better. So
yeah. So what I would do in general, you will always need to hire some new people as well, right? Your standards today, like I know from my experience, my standards 1 year ago, they were very different from today, and they are way higher right now. So that's why if you see like someone is not following your advice and you give like 5 times the feedback and there is no progress there or very slow progress, you can just exchange it for another person. Just you can hire maybe another person who will take better feedback, will have better skills, and start training them. Then your results will eventually become better. And if you don't do that, you lose the opportunities, because if they just write generic messages. It could be a client who pays you 15K for your services. Get what I mean?
Yeah.
So and having that structure as well. I wouldn't probably fire immediately. I would go and talk and say, hey, look, this is my expectation. I expect when I give you feedback, you do like this, and try to give like couple times. And if you see there is no progress, then it makes sense to hire another person. All right, Travis, was it helpful?
Yeah. So, I mean, so what do you do in terms of like the flywheel and the systems? 'Cause I think you were saying that was kind of like you do all three, right? You're obviously you're doing systems, you're doing flywheel, and also the sales. But like, what does your team do in terms of specifically for me? Like, I need more content, but I have no idea what I'm supposed to be doing with that, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Mhm. So in terms of Flywheel, if you want to build Flywheel, it will be like different steps. Like first, I would start in your case with the LinkedIn. Just as soon as you have your digital presence ready, start with the LinkedIn outreach, connect with the email, with the content strategy, and keep it with the follow-up sequences, which can be done with the different tools. I can give you the list of them. It's basically like can be GHL or set up other tools which can be done with the automation, and just keeping follow up with them. You will need one person who will manage that as well. It can be you, which is not taking a lot of time. You just will need to review every day, maybe like for 10-15 minutes, to see if everything is running well, if you need to adjust your messaging. And then it's just like a regular process running itself, connected with outbound and content systems. If you run ads, it's also better. I know you don't run ads, you told me last time, but if they all running together, in the long term, after 2-3 months, you will see like the system will start working itself. All right, cool.